Hey everyone, it is Nick with Good Health Saunas. Welcome back to another episode of Sweating the Details. And last week we talked a lot about information overload, how every sauna may look good online, every company may claim low EMF, they say they're high quality, and every company may list a ton of the health benefits. But tonight we want to take that another step further, and we're going to talk about the specific word that everyone sees right when they first start shopping, and that's infrared. Now, because a lot of companies, they throw around terms like near infrared, mid infrared, far infrared, full spectrum, carbon heaters, ceramic heaters, medical grade, and most people, they get pretty confused pretty quickly. And this is something where tonight we're gonna break it down in plain English, what infrared actually is, what creates that, and what benefits does it have on the body. And then what's really just marketing noise, and what's really the most kind of thick and the meat on the bone in the industry. So if you're watching live, drop your comments in. Let me know if you're looking at any specific brands, send the models our way, and we're more than happy to tell you what you're looking for. So we got a couple people joining in the chat. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, JC. Karcher joined as well. And we got Ben in the chat. Welcome, everyone. So we are going into an hour-long infrared sauna session. Tonight we're jumping into the details of what infrared actually means. And so if you've been tuning along so far, you know every week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we go live in an infrared sauna. And this one specifically is the Good Health Saunas Corner Hybrid Series. One of my personal favorites, just being a nice spacious layout with an L-shaped bench. Someone who's my height, 6'1", even taller, you still have plenty enough room to put your legs and stretch out on the bench. And so we go through kind of tips and tricks, obviously, when you are using the sauna. But a lot of people, they're starting at square one. They see an infrared sauna, they realize it may be something that interests them. They heard a friend talk about how good it made them feel, and now they're actually wondering, is this something that may benefit me? And so they often start with just typing in infrared saunas. And tonight isn't meant to be a physics class. It's really supposed to be a buyer's guide. So when you leave here, I want everyone to understand what really infrared is and know the science behind it before you invest thousands of dollars on just marketing and advertising claims. So as always, we got to get the unit preheated here, and with all the with all the Good Health Saunas Hybrid Series and all the Good Health Saunas, even in the Signature Series, there's 360-degree heaters. So that's going to give us a nice quick heat up time. We'll let it heat up for about 10, maybe 15 minutes here, get it up to those sweating temperatures, and then we're going to jump in, as always, close to that core body temp. So we're going to get the unit kicked on here. And then we are gonna, of course, have to put some towels on the bench and on the floor. That just keeps the unit nice and clean for the long run. And so unit is starting out about 77 degrees right now, so room temperature, and then we're gonna jump in when it's about 100 degrees. So obviously with tonight's episode, we wanna really focus on what is the most important thing when you are looking to invest any type of money, and especially with an infrared sauna. And this is where a lot of people get overwhelmed. One company says full spectrum, another says red light, and another one says low EMF. What really matters if the sauna doesn't even heat evenly, or if it's not made with safe materials, or if it's not going to get serviced if something stops working later down the road. So the big buzzwords as far as like near infrared, mid infrared, full spectrum, red light therapy, carbon versus ceramic, patents or app controls, max temperature, those are all keywords you're going to see a lot. And this episode tonight is just to help you get a little bit of a dictionary understanding to what a lot of those actually mean. And so a sauna, like I said, can have all the buzzwords, and it still can have weak heaters. It'll still have cold spots. And if it's made with unsafe materials and poor support, the fundamentals matters more than just the feature list. And so with us, we got everything that you're really looking for in making sure it's the safest, most efficient, most effective saunas. And when you really are looking at infrared, a lot of people ask, now, what does that even mean? And if you guys are joining, bear with me, I'm gonna nerd out for like 30 seconds, but infrared is a part of the light spectrum. So it sits just beyond that visible light, and it's right before microwaves. We can't see it, but we can feel it as heat. Now, when people say near, mid, and far infrared, they're talking about different wavelength ranges. Those wavelengths determine how the energy interacts with the body if it's absorbed. And far infrared is extremely important in a sauna because it's absorbed very efficiently by water. And what is your body mostly made of? Water. And that's where most of the heating and sweating response comes from. So that's why evenly distributing that infrared, and once that infrared energy is absorbed, your body experiences the heat. Your body doesn't care about the marketing label. It cares whether the sauna is safely producing infrared heat, raises that core temperature, allows you to get a good sweat going in a short amount of time. And so that doesn't mean every heat source is equal. A space heater creates heat, a traditional sauna creates heat, and infrared creates heat. The difference is how evenly, how safely, and how comfortable it is to sit in that type of environment. And so we've only had it running for about, let's say 5-ish minutes. And because it is pretty warm outside today, I don't know if you guys are where you're at in the country, but we are getting hit with a pretty good heat wave up here in Wisconsin. So for me, I know I'm gonna sweat a lot quicker tonight just because I already know my temperature is gonna be slightly elevated just with the very high heat we're having outside. And so I'm probably gonna sweat a lot quicker. I know I'm gonna get my heart rate elevated a little bit quicker, and so I gotta make sure I'm drinking a ton of water. And I've been doing that throughout the day just because I knew I was going into the session tonight. And that's something that, again, you really can't find, or you really can't preach enough about, is staying super, super hydrated. There are a ton of people who maybe start using an infrared sauna, and if they've never used a sauna before, or if this is maybe their first time in a high heat type environment, there may be a little distress in the body and it may feel a little uncomfortable at first. That's the nice part with an infrared sauna, is it's a lot more of a controllable environment. If you've ever just used a traditional sauna at the gym, you open the door up, that thing is rolling and just rocking from heating up all day long. And so you can't go in there and turn it down if you want to. And with your own home sauna, that's one of the really nice aspects. If, let's say, your significant other maybe doesn't want to sit in at that high of a temperature, but then you want to go in there and you can crank it up, that's a really nice aspect of, again, the infrared versus just that hot traditional air temperature. And so now there are a couple questions that I always like asking people, and I always recommend you ask any sauna brand. And as always, how many heaters does it have? If it's a weak full spectrum sauna, it's still a weak sauna. And where are those heaters placed? Are they on the front? Are they on the sides? Are they on the floor? And then they're wrapping around my entire body. If it doesn't check all those boxes, that's meaning I'm leaving benefits on the table. If I don't have any floor heat, a lot of those lower extremities, if you're on your feet a lot, or just a lot of those toxins that naturally get pulled to the bottom, that lower half, you're not getting as much infrared absorption, not gonna improve that circulation, not gonna improve that detoxification as well. So really important, does it have cold spots? And a sauna can reach temperature and still heat the body unevenly. And that's something that we see a lot and hear from a lot of people who have used an infrared sauna. They may say, oh, I got one, or I used my buddies that said it got up to 170. It didn't feel any warmer than the outside temperature. And that's where, again, marketing and advertising gimmicks don't just fall for the highest temperature. If they're making health claims, make sure they can back that up with the safety certification and testing. And then they should obviously have customers that can stand behind the product as well too. And so those are all the key kind of benefits as far as, the key kind of questions that I ask and I always encourage everyone to ask. And kind of circling back to what's gonna be more noise and what's gonna be what actually matters. And so we got a couple people joining. Nice has joined, I am has joined, and then we got Tara joining as well. Welcome everyone. So we are again going in an hour-long session in the corner hybrid unit. This is an episode we are specifically diving into infrared, what that actually means. Last week we kind of talked about what's more marketing and how there's so much information overload. Touching back on that, when you are looking at saunas, what actually matters versus noise is the actual matter is solid lumber construction, not particle board, not plywood, not press board. Make sure it has a VOC air quality report, and that's gonna back up the real lumber construction, the heater count, heater placement, again, the 360-degree heat, speed up time, and the warranty. Now, what's more noise in the industry or marketing? Fancy glass, fancy lights, infrared max temperature claims, and then just generic low EMF numbers too. If it's only a brand that's promoted by influencers and it looks to be put in a spot that almost doesn't make sense, you really kind of got to ask, is this someone that's just promoting the product, or are they actually using it for what it's intended for? And that's really hard in today's day and age. And again, that's why we come on these lives, give you guys an opportunity to actually see what a full spectrum medical grade infrared sauna session can look like, ask your questions and get answers live. And again, with the noise, app controls, cheap price point, the salt, stone, all those sound nice. And when you're thinking about kind of combining therapies and killing two birds with one stone, everyone obviously wants, in today's day and age, be the most efficient with their time. But oftentimes when you try and add in salt, or if you add in too many features, you're compromising things. And so again, you're going to be left with maybe a weak infrared system if it is mostly focusing on the lights, or if it doesn't have enough heaters, or if it's mostly focusing on the bells and whistles as far as app controls, Bluetooth speakers. Those are things that are really going to not pay dividends in your investment in the long run. You may like it right out of the gate, but from what we've heard from customers who have used their saunas 10, 15, 20 plus years, it's really boils down to the three most basic things. How fast does it heat up? Does it have even heat distribution? And have I not had any issues with it? And so we got Bon has joined, and some others. If you guys are just joining us, welcome. We are doing an infrared sauna session, and speaking of, I gotta be jumping in the sauna here, and it's about 108 degrees right now, so that's a little bit higher than that core temperature. So we're gonna be jumping in the sauna here, and my one last little note when we're talking about marketing and noise and what actually matters is a cheap sauna, again, will still make you sweat, but that does not mean you're getting the same medical grade infrared. So we're gonna jump in the sauna and we will meet you guys in there. Welcome back in, guys. So we are just jumping in, starting our watch out so we can track the workout as well, and then we'll show you guys kind of the start and heart rate numbers. So 2, 1, heart rate's always a little elevated when I get in the sauna just because I've been talking to you guys. So my guess is it'll probably be in that 80s, maybe 90s here. Give me one second. But we'll show you guys starting out heart rate and then what we're gonna end out with here at the end of the session. And that's something that I really enjoy, is that passive cardiovascular aspect. We got Squirrel Productions joining as well. And I was talking to you guys so much, I forgot to put my towels down. So bear with me for a second while I get these towels placed on the bench here. Towel over here, and then we're gonna put one on the floor. Just covering about half that floor heater right now. I'm still gonna let my feet kind of rest directly on that floor heater until I start to get a really good sweat. Then you'll see I'm gonna kind of just kick the towels out. I move around a lot, so that just helps absorb any of the sweat that may be dripping off chin, elbows, shoulders, or any of the other extremities. I'm gonna just put another towel out this way, and then we will be all set. So our towels are now down, guys. We are starting out, and the unit again is about 114 in here now, so a little bit above 100 degrees, that core body temperature. If you have any questions, don't be afraid, drop them down in the chat below. I remember when I first started looking at infrared saunas, and I had heard of traditional saunas, I had heard of steam rooms. I had maybe gone in one once or twice before, and then when I had heard of infrared, just like everyone, I assumed that that has to be red light. And that's where, without knowing or without having the knowledge and the experience of the industry that I have, I would still think that infrared has to be red light. When you're actually looking at the industry, you'll see that companies do market it that way, where in reality, infrared is a non-visible light ray. It's a wavelength that your body can actually absorb. And now you will see red light therapy. That's different than an infrared sauna. And so red light therapy, that doesn't produce any heat. And so all those red light panels, there are still some benefits. That's going to be producing near infrared. So it doesn't get as deep as far infrared. You still get benefits as far as sunspots, some scar tissue. So there are benefits kind of more for that superficial level. Now an infrared sauna, that uses the far, mid, and near wavelengths to get about 1.5 inches into the soft tissue muscle. What happens is it vasodilates blood vessels. It's going to allow a lot more oxygenated blood to flow to parts of the body that's not typically getting that adequate amount of blood flow. Because it's that non-visible light ray, it's only heating about 20% of that ambient air. 80% of that heat my body can directly absorb. And now back to red light therapy, when I'm standing in front of that panel is not producing any heat, or that light isn't producing any heat. The panel itself may be, just because it's drawing power, but the actual light itself isn't what's producing that heat. And so then if I'm 6'12", 2 feet away from it, I'm 6'12", 6'12" inches, 2 feet away from it. If it was on this front door or on this front panel or on this side panel here, I'd be too far away from that actual light to get any of the benefits. And so distance and dose matters. And it's the same thing with the infrared heaters. If I'm too far away from any of these infrared heaters, or if there's no heaters on the front wall, then I'm negating a lot of those benefits. And that's why we prefer to build the best infrared sauna possible. If someone wants a red light, and a dedicated panel should be used separately just to get the best results. And so those are things that I wouldn't have never known had I not been in the industry. And like I said, when we are kind of taking that next step of, okay, we're getting through the information overload. Now what am I actually looking for in an infrared sauna? And there are red light panels that don't make up for infrared heaters. That's a big misconception, where if a company has heating elements on 3/4 of the unit and I put a red light on the other quarter, that isn't meaning that I'm getting a heating element there, because that's going to be a red light panel. That's different than infrared heat therapy. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And those that do realize, okay, I'm trying to combine too many treatments into one session. I should really focus on just using an infrared sauna, or I should then isolate and just use a red light therapy. And a lot of people who then go a step further and realize, okay, all those benefits that I was getting with red light therapy, that skin purification, sunspots, the scar tissue, I'm getting all of those within a full spectrum infrared sauna and a lot more. And those are when people really understand, okay, I can sit in a sauna, still get that infrared absorption into the soft tissue muscle, help repair the damaged DNA, help repair the damaged cells by, again, activating the water molecules in the body. And those activated water molecules are what can attach to heavy metals, toxins, carcinogens, and allow your body to naturally pull them out. If you've ever been super sick at night, sleeping throughout the night, you're sweating buckets in your sleep, that's your body's natural recovery mode. You're sweating in your sleep, and that's the same premise inside the sauna by raising your core temperature. And that's why in a traditional sauna, you're still going to sweat, but that infrared getting into that soft tissue muscle, it's a real night and day difference. And again, you can't supplement a red light panel for an infrared heater. You're not really getting the same benefits. And I know there are people who have used an infrared sauna and they say, oh, I didn't really get that much of a sweat, or it didn't really make me feel any different. And to that I always say, well, what type of infrared sauna was it? What brand was it? what type of heaters were they using. Were the heaters actually producing infrared that your body can absorb, or was it more like sitting in that conventional style heat where it's just heating that ambient air temperature? And if I'm in a weak infrared sauna where it's only, again, heating 20% of the ambient air and it's only getting to about 140, yeah, I'm probably not going to be getting that good of a sweat. But if I have an actual infrared sauna that's getting into that soft tissue muscle, raising my core temperature, it really doesn't matter what that ambient air temperature is, because I know I'm going to sweat buckets because my core temperature is raised. It's a night and day difference from using a low quality sauna to an actual high quality medical grade. Nothing competes with this hybrid series. Like I said, with the amount of heaters, the heat up capacity, and then just the solid lumber construction, it's really head and shoulders above the rest out there. And so Andy is joined as well. We got Michael, Wendy, welcome. CDA group, and Alyssa has joined. Lisa, welcome guys. We're only about, 15 minutes in, 10 minutes in to our session. And I said earlier, I knew I was gonna start sweating early just because of how warm it is out there today. And I was not kidding. I'm already starting to get a little bit of a sweat going. You can see it kind of just perspiring all across my body. And that's because I'm slowly raising my core temperature. It's not like jumping in that hot traditional sauna or steam room where it's gonna take my breath away. It's almost like I can't take a deep breath. I can sit in here, have a full conversation with you guys, answer questions, and still get all of those deep cellular benefits, those cardiovascular benefits, and those circulatory and muscle recovery. So those are kind of the big things on what infrared really is. And then, okay, we got through infrared, what we're looking for. Now I want to decide what's going to be the best sauna for me. And I go to the Good Health Saunas website. I see that they have two series. They have a signature series and then they have a hybrid series. Now, what's the difference between those two? Because like we talked about, even though saunas may look the same, there may be some differences between the two. So with the easiest, simplest way to explain it is the signature series is best for someone who wants infrared, really heavily focused daily recovery, just relaxation, efficient heat, and more comfortable, controlled environment. Now that hybrid series, that's best for someone who likes it hotter, more of that traditional sauna feel, but they still want the infrared benefits. If they've used traditional saunas or just have experience with saunas in the past, they always tend to lean towards that hybrid series just with that higher heat capability. And so the right model isn't just about the price. It's really about how it makes you feel when you're inside of it, but then how it makes you feel outside. And so both deliver heat to your body. The difference is the experience. A lot of companies focus on efficient infrared. Some focus on advertising the hottest. But what it really boils down to is how quickly can those heaters raise your core temperature? And I have sat in hundreds of different saunas, guys. Nothing competes with this hybrid series. I don't sweat nearly as much. I don't sweat as quick. And this thing is absolutely rock solid. So that's why we keep coming back to it night and day. It's, like I said, really head and shoulders above the rest out there. And if you've ever thought about getting one, or if you're looking at any specific brands, feel free, send them over. We're more than happy to kind of help point you in the right direction. Just figure out if it's something that is actually going to work for you. It's actually what you're looking for too. So all those questions are probably something that we've heard before, and you're not the first one to have it. So if you don't want to chat with me, we always have our buyer's guide, and these are 5 questions to ask any infrared sauna brand. And if they can't answer those, I would go find another one, because they're really focusing on making sure that you're getting what you're looking for and that the sauna is actually going to be safe, effective, and last you a long time too. So that buyer's guide is an excellent resource no matter where you're at in your journey, guys. Always, we have the lives too, where you can answer the questions one-on-one. But if you also want to schedule a quick visit with me, we have this QR code. You can scan that, schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. I can walk you through all the different sauna options, show you kind of what separates low quality, what makes a high quality one. If you want me to go in there and sit in one with you on FaceTime and show you how I'm sweating, more than happy to do so as well. So those are really kind of the key aspects of what an infrared sauna is, kind of the signature in the hybrid series. Like I said, it's not meant to be a science class tonight. We're trying to make it a crash course in how you can get the most up to speed real life data. So when you are looking online, you are armed with the right arsenal to make the best decision for you and your family. So there are some crazy examples that I've heard in the past and have heard from coworkers and customers, as far as when we talk to people who maybe bought the cheaper sauna that looked good online. It had the lights and it had the speakers, but when it showed up on the doorstep, it took forever to heat up. It had cold spots, and one of the heaters stopped working. I think it was 2 or 3 months down the road. Now they realized, yeah, I got a sauna, but the most expensive investment is making the wrong one first. So now he already has this cheap one. He can't get rid of it, and now he's stuck. He still wanted an infrared sauna because of how good it made him feel, and he wanted to go with one of us because he knew he was then getting a sauna that was actually going to get hot enough, it's going to last him a while, and he's going to have service down the road if he ever needs it. And so there are people who also kind of shop thinking, well, I just want a one-person sauna. It's just me that's going to use it, or it's me and the significant other. We don't think we'd ever use it together, so we'd probably want a one-person sizing. And that, it does sound great, and then they realize when they actually sit in a true one-person sizing, those are often a little bit more uncomfortable. And if you have the space for kind of that larger sizing, I've never had a customer get a larger size one saying they wish they went with something smaller. So that one person is nice, but if you don't want to have to worry about feeling crammed, claustrophobic, or anything like that, 2 or 3 person model gives you plenty of space. And so if you've maybe been using one at the gym and you're like, I'm getting my daily sauna sessions in, I'm good. That is good if you are using it daily. I like to go to the gym. I know I can't go there 7 days a week as much as I'd like. So having something in the comfort of your own home where you actually can use it consistently, even if you don't get to go to the gym that day, but you can jump home or you can run home, use it 30, 45 minutes at the end of the night, still get that same passive cardiovascular workout and all those benefits. That's when you can really start to notice the compounding effects of long-term usage. And so obviously, we want to make sure you're getting the right sauna, and it's not to sell you the most expensive one, but we know that to manufacture a high quality, safe, efficient product and to back it with that warranty, there is going to be customers that realize this may not be the right fit. But we have tons of options as far as financing, low monthly payments. I had a customer the other week who ended up financing one. It was for around $100 a month, where they were already paying, I think it was like $130 for a membership. And calculating it out, I think it saved them close to like, I think $500 a year. Just, we were calculating a little bit of gas money in there too. And then at the end of their term, they get the sauna with a lifetime warranty, and they can use it for the rest of their life. And so finding the right sauna for you is also finding the right company that has the right sauna. So obviously we try and accommodate everyone's needs and have so many different sizes and shapes that I am almost guaranteeing we have the perfect sauna for you. But if you have any other questions, I always like to ask you guys, this is a great time to ask someone directly who deals with these units hands-on every single day. Are there any specific questions that you have? When you hear of infrared, what do you think that means? And are you more interested in like higher heat with infrared saunas? Is it kind of the detox, sleep? What are the health benefits that you're really looking for? Or are you comparing any brands right now? Would you rather have a hotter traditional sauna, or would you rather have a hotter traditional sauna or a more infrared focused session? What type of sauna people are you? And if you were thinking about getting one, where would you put it? That's what I always like to ask people too. And we hear from most people that commonly they put it in the basement. Most of them, or most people, have a little bit extra room, where our unit's 4x4, 4x5, and this corner unit here can pretty much fit in any shape or any space. And the nice part is no venting, no plumbing, no water lines. It's all just panels and pieces that easily get brought down the stairs. Plug and play, buckle clips on the side. And so install typically about an hour long, and then you can take it down, disassemble it, and put it right back up if you ever wanted to too. So that's one of the nice parts. But we are getting a good sweat going now, guys. 20 minutes in and the heart rate is up in the 120s, almost in the 130s. And that is the science-backed proof in the pudding, guys. If your sauna isn't getting you sweating that efficiently, you're probably not getting all the benefits you could be. And so there are people who, obviously, if you've never used an infrared sauna and you use any, you're probably going to feel better. But then when you start actually using multiple different brands, or if you travel and if you go to different studios, you'll notice that there are differences between the heating components, the heater layout, and just the overall comfort and experience you have in the sauna. And one of the big ones is, I notice when sitting in those lower quality units, if it has high EMF levels, I may feel a little uneasy throughout the session. I don't know what it is. I may feel just not as settled or relaxed throughout the session. And then also maybe because it's probably not using real wood. So if it's not using like particle board, plywood, press board, I know when I've sat in those saunas before, it heats up. And when you're breathing that in, it's a noticeable difference, especially when you come from a real solid lumber sauna and go into something that then smells plasticky, particle board and formaldehyde. Those are kind of factors that most people won't get to see or won't realize until they're actually sitting in the sauna. And that's, I feel like, why so many people are hesitant to invest in an infrared sauna, is because they may have never used one before. They hear so many good things about it, but they go online and they see so many different options. And I would be the same way. When I'm looking for golf balls, like I was using that example the other week, there are so many different manufacturers out there, and it's hard to decipher what actually is more marketing and gimmick and what's science backed by experience and just like scientific based evidence. So with us, and when you're using an infrared sauna, look for third-party testing, and that's independent testing. So that's not company driven, that's not factory based or manufacturer based testing. That's a third-party entity that you can actually go and pull up their separate report that's done independently from the company. So those are the really key things that I would encourage you to look for. Ask for the EMF readings, ask for the air quality report. If they can't provide those, I would be very concerned that it's not using safe materials. And so when you are looking, I always like asking what matters most. Is it the price? Is it EMF levels? Is it heat, materials, warranty? What are the questions that you guys, or what are the factors that you guys are considering most when you are looking? And we got Holly joined. Kay Massarelli is joined as well. Welcome, guys. I like the last name. But we are about 20 minutes in. Oh no, my watch paused. We're about 20 minutes in to the session here, and the heart rate we showed was in the 130s. And being that we're about 20 minutes in, it's when we start to get a little quieter, because the session starts to get a little tougher as the unit creeps up into the 140s. I'm starting to drip sweat, and I think we're gonna get on the struggle bus a stop early today, but that's because it is so warm. We are going to have to get on the struggle bus a little early And I'm, like I said, not kidding guys, heart rate up in the 130s. I am dripping sweat, and that's only been about 20 minutes in here. So I watched pause again. We gotta stay hydrated. Okay. Okay. Whew. It's a warm one today, guys, not gonna lie. I think I said, like I said, it is a summer heat wave out here in Wisconsin right now, so just naturally, I think everyone's body temperature is slightly elevated, which is that extreme heat that we are having outside. So I know I'm sweating a little bit quicker. I probably didn't drink as much water as I should have this past weekend, being how hot it was. So there is probably some lingering, a little bit of dehydration kind of taking effect too. So those are all kind of things where what I ate the day before, how much I slept, all those variables are going to come into play on how much I'm sweating, how quick I'm going to sweat, how long I'm going to be able to stay in the sauna. And not every day is the same, and infrared isn't magic, it's just heat delivery. That's the biggest thing that we try and preach, is it's the wavelengths and the delivery system matter than the numbers and size and claim. So, yeah, it is heat. It doesn't necessarily know what type of heating element it's getting it. That's for your body to decide. I'm getting heated up. I can actually start to naturally recover with that cellular regeneration, increased ATP production in the mitochondria cells. So that helps just create energy throughout your body, helps regulate your entire system. So those are really kind of key aspects. And a weak full spectrum sauna is still a weak sauna, and weak heating elements are still weak heaters. No front heaters aren't going to get magically made up by having large back heaters. So those are really important factors to consider when you are looking to invest. Like I said, this isn't meant to be a physics class, but it is supposed to be a resource and a guide to help you find and figure out which sauna is going to be the best for you. And like I said, with our signature and our hybrid series, all the different shapes and sizes, it's super easy to just jump on a quick call with us, or you can always schedule a one-on-one with me and we can walk through all the options. And I know, wrapping up the 4th of July sale, if you are on the fence, we have some limited inventory before we get into our crazy busy state fair season. So reach out, let us know what sauna you're looking at, or just send us any other brands that you're maybe thinking about so we can help point you in the right direction and let you know if it's something that we would actually consider. So those are heart rates in the 140, guys. We are sweating. And I always like, the best sauna is the one that you're actually going to use consistently. So if you have something where you don't enjoy using it, it's too small, it doesn't get hot enough, one of the heaters stops working, you're not actually going to enjoy using it. And so having and doing the due diligence on the front end is going to pay you dividends in the long run. And that's obviously what everyone's goal is when they are looking to invest in an infrared sauna. There are so many people that realize it could be beneficial for them. They just don't know where to take that next step. And like I said, the guide that we have with 5 quick questions to ask any sauna company will give you a great starting point to figure out, is this something that I'm actually going to use, and is this a reputable company that stands behind their product? So those are all great resources. We have tons of other links, videos, tips, tricks on our website too. So we got Coach Haley has joined. Mr. Matt Curry is in the chat as well. Welcome. You guys, we're deep in the sauna session. We're about 25 minutes in. Unit's about 145. Heart rate's also about 140. So getting that really deep cardiovascular workout. Whew. Sometimes you gotta catch your breath in here, guys, but notice how I can actually take a deep breath. It's not burning my nose, it's not burning my mouth, it's not an uncomfortable type heat, and that's because I've slowly elevated my core temperature. My core temperature is probably about 101, 102 right now, so getting into that elevated fever-like response, but my body isn't fighting any of the symptoms or side effects of that fever. It's really emphasizing on the detox, the recovery, the circulatory benefits, the muscle relaxation, the muscle recovery. So everyone who's ever been super sick at night, you wake up, you sleep, and you feel night and day difference. It's almost like that experience every time you use the sauna. And that's the easiest way I can explain it. That's how it is for me at least. So once people start using it, and I know we've had so many customers in chats previously, like JC, if she's still watching, she absolutely loves her sauna, and I'm assuming she probably just got out of hers shortly or is going in it later this evening, but so many customers absolutely swear by it, saying it's one of the smartest investments they made. They use it almost every single day. It's probably one of the last things they would have to give up if they had to only pick one kind of recovery or workout. So we got Tully Time in the chat. Welcome, guys. We are deep, about 25-30 minutes in the session here. I don't know about Minnesota, but in Wisconsin we are in a heat wave right now, and I am definitely feeling the effects of probably not drinking enough water this weekend. So that's why staying super hydrated during, and I'm going to drink a ton of water after. I'm probably going to throw in an electrolyte packet. Just make sure that because I use sauna so much and I am sweating, I am going to replace those fluids. And same thing in those electrolyte packets, there's sodium. For me, there's sugar, just because I don't have a very sugary diet. Like, I don't drink sodas, I don't really eat candy or anything like that. When I am sweating so much, I do need to kind of naturally, or I do need to kind of artificially add some natural sugars back into my system, whether that's via fruit, like I said, the electrolyte packets, the liquid IVs. All those are different kind of variables that'll come into play when you start understanding how your body works and how it really gets impacted and kind of treated with the infrared therapy. So you'll notice I'm like constantly drinking water too. It's not this gulp, 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 gulp. I'm slowly sipping water, because actually this water that's in this thermos, it's probably cooled being in the thermos, so I don't know the actual temperature, but it's definitely probably about 50, 60 degrees, maybe 70 degrees room temperature roughly. So having me drinking room temperature water, putting into my elevated core temperature system, is going to actually make my body work a little bit harder, because my body's going to have to heat that water up just to make it soluble to my actual temperature and make it so my body can absorb it. So when I am drinking cool water in the sauna, you are having to work a little bit harder to naturally heat that water up, just to make sure it gets absorbed. So why room temperature water is the best for you is because your body has to work the least amount to actually absorb it. And so for me, having just room temperature water, obviously in a thermos, and then we're in this high heat type environment, it's still gonna naturally have to heat it up. It's not like I'm saying bring in warm water to drink, but if you are looking for the most amount of hydration, the least amount of stress on your body, room temperature water, this is gonna make it much more easily absorbable into the body. So wow, guys, we are 30 minutes in. Heart rate is up in the 160s. That is phenomenal. So it's like I were doing a 400 meter sprint, maybe 800 meters, where I'm slowly elevating that core temperature. That's going to be the best workout for my body and allowing my heart to become a more efficient pump. So now if I actually were to go do a half marathon, my heart's already conditioned to be in this higher pump type state, but it's not having to work as hard because of vasodilation of the blood vessels. So that's why you get a ton of the muscle relaxation, the muscle recovery. And actually, when you are like getting done with a workout, one of the best things you can do is still stretch and use. Sorry, we're sweating when we're done here. I lost my train of thought there for a second. Heart rate's up there, guys, for sweat. But we got 15 minutes. We can do it. Struggle bus is like we're moving up to the front. Struggle bus quickly. So, again, that's about 30 minutes in the session, guys. Heart rate is major elevated, but that's slowly and passively gotten there. If I didn't want to have it at that higher temperatures, I could bump it down to the 120, 130, 140, and I'm still absorbing all of that infrared. But because I really want to emphasize that cardiovascular workout, I like the hybrid series being able to set it up to the 165 so those heaters are constantly running to make sure I'm always absorbing that infrared heat. So, I think my mic died, maybe. No, we're good. Let me know if the audio sounds good in the chat, guys. I know the mic was getting a little warm. I was probably sweating on it too. So, if it sounded a little fuzzy, I'll turn it off. Bear with me. Sorry. Grinch, thanks for joining. Romo, thanks for joining. Welcome, guys. We are deep in an infrared sauna session, and we are pretty much leaking too. So, sweating absolute buckets. About 35-ish minutes in, maybe 40 minutes in. My watch turned off one of the times, so I had to resume my workout. Hate when that happens, but nice thing is I still have the timer up top here, so I know when I turned it on we had 60 minutes, and we only have probably another 10 or so. So this one is definitely going to be a little bit more of a quiet ending session here. I'm sweating a lot. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Drop them in the chat. I'll try and answer them as best as I can in my current state. But we're also going to get some stretching in, guys. Because that's what a lot of people ask, well, what am I going to do in here for an hour? For me, I've been in here for 30 minutes, and now I feel my muscles feel so relaxed. I feel so loose. Stretching is one of my favorite activities in here. And it's almost like I can get into the deepest possible stretches in here. I feel like I can't even get nearly half as close when I'm not in an infrared sauna or just a sauna. And so, I stretched one way, we gotta go the other. Oh. Oh man, it is hot. We are sweating. If I lay down, you still see me? Am I still visible? No. All right. Coming back up. Was not visible when I laid down, but you do want to be sitting upright in the sauna, guys. I was just laying down because I've been in here for a while, and it would have been nice to relax for a little bit, but the best way to actually absorb infrared is sitting upright, because you'll see these heaters, they go nice and above my neck and shoulders. So if I were to lay down on this back here, or on this bench, excuse me, I wouldn't have a heater on my back. And for me, I was in a bad car accident a few years ago, so whiplash, I really notice a lot of the benefits when I have just the infrared heaters directly on my shoulder and neck area. So, Diane, thanks for joining. We're deep in the sauna session here, guys, but hour feels a little tougher today than normal. Like I said, I think it's because it's extra hot outside today. I probably had a pretty active weekend, walking around a lot. Probably didn't drink as much water as I should have. So I think we are feeling a little bit of the effects of that, but I know when I get out, I'm gonna immediately wish I stayed in for like 5-10 more minutes. So having and putting myself in that high stress type environment actually helps regulate your body. If you're stressed out at work, having something in the comfort of your own home where you can relax, get used to having that higher heat type and that stressors on your body actually helps regulate all those emotions, hormones, for me at least. Whew. 750, guys. If you take one thing away tonight, it's infrared's not magic, but when it is correctly delivered, it is one of the best tools for recovery, circulation, relaxation, and just using it consistently. Don't just shop by buzzwords. Don't just shop by price. Don't just shop by influencers or marketing. Look at the heater placement. Look at materials used, EMF reports, VOCs report, warranty, service, whether the company's been around for a long time. And if you're comparing brands, send us the model. If you're trying to decide between the Signature and the Hybrid series, message us your space and what you want to do with it. We'll help you narrow it down and make sure you can find the right sauna for your goals. We're going to wrap it up a few minutes early. It's hot out. Keep sweating, guys. If you have any questions or you want to know more about the main benefits, recovery, sleep, detox, shoot us a message, DM us. We're more than happy to help. Until next time, guys, keep sweating.